All right. Good evening. It's good to be here tonight. We're kind of running a little late. I don't think we'll get through what we got in front of me tonight, but we're going to try to get as far as we can. We're going to look at some Psalms tonight called Wisdom Psalms. Now, I'm going to read what I've got here in the notes, and I think you have the same thing in your notes, and it'll try to explain what I think about wisdom, okay? Wisdom literature in the Old Testament gives instruction on the importance of one living their life in accordance to the Torah or with Torah. So that was their instruction guidebook was Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. This type of practical wisdom would help one to produce a pious and productive life. Now, we got to be careful with this prosperity gospel. That's not what it's saying. It's a productive and pious life. I know a lot of people that live a godly life and they were poor by this world's standards, you know. We could say that this, along with other ancient Near East literature, recognized what we refer to today as natural selection. I said that is funny, okay, which is an established order in the world that rewards virtue and industry while punishing evil and slothfulness. So it's natural selection, you know. If you're going to be stupid, you got to be tough. Ain't that what they said? Anyway, this genre of wisdom literature in the Old Testament includes Job, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, and the Psalms. So I want to preference that all of these books are wisdom literature, but there's some Psalms that they call wisdom Psalms. That's just they're more like a proverb at some level, I guess would be a good way of putting it. This guy right here, Kantz, lists 7 distinctive features in wisdom psalms. None of them contain all 7, nor is any of these features just held by that class of psalms. So in other words, these 7 things can be in other places, so it makes it a little confusing, but that's what this guy listed it at. So the first of those 7 distinctives is the better sayings. Now, we find quite a bit of the better sayings in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. I've got in front of me, I have all of them. All right? Y'all don't have that because I wasn't going to print out 2 or 3 more pages. All right? So I'm just going to read you a few of these better Proverbs, and just to give you an idea. Proverbs 3:14, for the merchandise of it, talking about wisdom, is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. So it's comparing wisdom. The getting of wisdom is better than monetary riches. So that's Proverbs 3, verse 14. Proverbs 8:11, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Okay, let's drop down here. Proverbs 15:17, better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therein. So it's better to have a little bit of, a happy meal where everybody's getting along than to have fine steak up at Hamilton's and everybody's mad at each other. That's the idea there, better than, okay? Proverbs 16:19, better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, okay? And he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. Here's some that some of you will like, maybe. It is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. I knew y'all would like that. Okay. And they go on and on. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of them in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. And even in the Song of Solomon, there's a couple of them. It's better than this. It's better to be this than this. Okay, and so that is one of the distinctives that we see in the Wisdom Psalms. And so we have them right here. I'm gonna tell you what we have. It's found quite often in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. Only 6 Psalms have this saying, and there's Psalm 37, verse 16, Psalm 63, verse 3, Psalm 84:10, Psalm 118, verses 8 and 9, and Psalm 119:72. Brother, how about pulling this one of them up there, and let's look at one of them. I don't care any of them.
Psalm 37:16.
See there? There we go. A Psalm of David. Fret not. Nope. There we go. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. Okay? So we see that idea, and like I say, these 6 Psalms that's listed here, and these verses are those that have those particular items in it. So, and again, they're written a whole lot like Proverbs, those particular places. So that's one of the distinctives. I'm gonna get my tongue out of the way, and I'm gonna talk right in a minute. All right. The next thing that we see is a numerical saying. Now, I want to look at a couple of these. We'll look at all of them if you want to. Let's look at Psalm. Turn in your Bibles to Psalm 27, and let's look at this one to start with. I think this is the easiest one. 27, verse 4. One thing. So there's your numerical number. One thing have I decided of the Lord, that will I seek, and that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all of the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and inquire in his temple. So it has a numerical saying, one thing. All right, one thing. Now, these other 2 are difficult. Okay? These other 2 are difficult. Let's go to Psalm 1 to start with. Well, before we get to verse 6, I'm going to run down a rabbit hole. I'm going to tell you now, if you get to run in this rabbit, you're going to find it's a skunk. Okay? All right? There's in Psalm 1, now listen to me, I'm just going to explain to you some craziness. Please don't go trying to find it. Okay? I'm saying this because if you take your notes like I would if I was you, and I got home and I got on the internet, I'd be looking this stuff up. And if you look this up, this is going to be one of the things that comes up about Psalm 1. Okay? And so I'm going to deal with it. There's these people in the world, and they're so smart. They know the Hebrew text, and they know the Aramaic text, and they know the Greek text, and they know the Latin text, and they know all of the English text, and they know every verse in the Bible by heart. They can quote the whole Bible. They have nothing else to do except to sit around and to count numbers. Okay? And so, in Hebrew, or in English, in the English language, we have an alphabet. And we take those letters and we make words, and then from them words, we put them in sentences, and we're supposed to have grammar. Marty don't have much, but we're supposed to have grammar that we use with that. Then we have a numerical system that we add and subtract, do arithmetic with, right? Add and subtract's about all I do. I don't do none of that slide rule stuff. Okay. Well, there's languages in the world, and Hebrew is one of them, that they don't have a numerical system. Their letters have value, numerical value. Okay? So they have 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, or 22 consonants. They have vowels is another thing. 22 consonants. The first 10, Aleph through Yoda. They each have a numerical number. Aleph being 1, 2, 3, go all the way down. Yoda is 10. Then you move over into Lamba. Lamba is 20. That's the next letter. Mu, 30. Nun, 40. So on and so forth. Okay? Then you get all the way down to Kaf. And Kaf is 100. Okay? Then after Kaf, you have Resh, it's 200. And then you have Sin or Shin. There are two letters that fit side by side in their alphabet. Those are 300. And then you have Tau, and that's 400. Okay? Aren't y'all impressed now? All right. So what these people do is they give a numerical value to every letter, and then they start adding up letters in a word, and the word has this numerical value. Are you with me so far? Look with me in Psalm 1. At the very first word there, it is blessed. Okay? That word in the Hebrew, the numerical value, is 26. So they say that letter, there's 52 Hebrew words in Psalm 1, and so that 52 is 2 times 26, which means it's blessed, blessed. Are you with me? All right. Now, these same people that believe that, and they sit around and count letters and numbers and add stuff up all the time because they also say that Psalm 1 and 2 goes together. So what does that do to their formula? It messes it up. Okay? So let me just say this to you. God hadn't got no hidden handshakes in His Word. He wrote it somewhere between a 6th and an 8th grade level education so every human being can read His Word and know how to have a holy life that is pleasing to Him. Okay? Don't go running down rabbit trails because you'll find a skunk. Okay? Now, I give you that because that's what they're going to say. Okay? So what is numerically here? Because you don't see a number here. Okay? There's something numerical here, but you don't see a number. Look with me. Let's just read. Blessed is the man. There's one. Okay? Happy is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. There's two. There's two different people here. One is the person that is walking in the counsel of the godly, and one is the one that's walking in the counsel of the ungodly. That's your two numbers. Okay? Go on and look with me. It says, but his delight, talking about the one that's blessed, is in the law of the Lord. So it's in Torah. And his law does he meditate day and night. So he keeps it upon his heart. And he shall be like the tree planted by the rivers of water. It bringeth forth fruit in the season. So he's always being watered by the word of God. He's always growing by it. His leaf is also don't wither. And wheresoever he goes, he prospers. Here's number two, the ungodly. They're not like that. They're not planted by the waters of life. Their leaf does wither. But they're like the chaff and the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. So he's contrasting the two. We're going to see that's another genre in a minute. But for the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. So that's your two numbers. It's the godly and the ungodly. It's not 26 or 52. Okay, it's just not. That just made me mad when I read that today. Anyway, let's look at Psalm 62, because this is another one, and I think there's something there I need to explain over there too. So let's go look at it real quick. Psalm 62. Because I got here in my notes that I'm supposed to explain it. Psalm 62. Let's look at verses 11 and 12. God had spoken once. Twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. So we see the countdown there. It's once and twice. He's heard it twice. And so that's the numerical saying in this thing, is the once and the twice, okay? And those kind of sayings are unusual in the Psalms. Like I say, they're in these three Psalms here that we have listed, and that's it. That's the only three places you'll find them, I believe. Okay? Now, I'm going to get to show off for you some more here. Okay? Yeah, right. The third type of thing that we find is admonition with and without motive. Okay, so sometimes it's without motive and sometimes it's with motive. All right, so let's look at my notes here so I can impress you, because I got to look at it so I can impress you, because I won't know what I'm talking about if I don't. Probably don't know what I'm talking about with it. Motive clauses are introduced by key. That's what that is. That's a call and a Yoda. All right, you're going from right to left. So the call's the C-looking thing, and the Yoda's the other thing, and it's pronounced key. All right, it's a conjunction. It's a Hebrew conjunction, and so a Hebrew conjunction. This particular conjunction, and this is what I love about languages. Greek's the same way. A conjunction or a preposition's got 50 different meanings. Okay. It means because, for, that, when, but, or indeed. That's what that little conjunction key means. Okay. Now I've got a list of the Psalms, or the places in the Psalms that have a key that's a wisdom literature, but it does not introduce a motive. Okay. That's 32:3, and then 49. 49 has key in 11, 16, 17, 18, and twice in 19. But none of them, while they're wisdom psalms, none of them introduce a motive. Okay? But they're there. That's without a motive. These psalms are without a motive. I want to look at the two that have a motive clause. Psalm 34:9. Let's see if I can get there before Laramie can. Oh, he done messed up. Oh, he's there. Oh, fear the Lord, ye his saints, for there is no want to them that fear him. So, you see the word for right there? That is your motive clause. That introduces your motive clause. So, oh, fear the Lord, ye his saints. So that's what you're to do. And here's the motive behind it. There's no want to them that fear him. So, when we fear the Lord, it's what? Help me. Reverence, actually. Yes. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for, it's reverence. It's a reverential fear. It's, I fear that state trooper when he comes up beside the car. It's yes, sir, and no, sir. All right? I mean, if you don't do that, I mean, that's your fault for what you get, okay? He's probably going to give you a driving coupon, a driving award anyway, so, you know, you might as well yes, sir, no, sir, right? I don't want to go to jail with him. I don't want to ride with him. All right? The other one is Psalm 37. Now, I'm going to have to go over there. Do y'all have any of this in your notes? I don't believe you do. Psalm 37, is it there? Okay. Huh? Yeah. Okay. All right. So it is there. All right. So all of these verses are your they contain your key in them. I believe that's right. Every one of them. Yes. But not all of these verses are causal. Okay. Look at verse 2. For, there's your key. They shall soon be cut down. So what's verse 1 say? Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. And here's your reason why. They shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither like the green herb. So there's your cause. There's why you don't fret. Okay? Let's look at verse 9. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. All right? So, where's my key at? I believe key is the but there. So, there again, you have your cause. No, your cause is the first key. So let's look at verse 8. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. So in other words, don't try to do evil. Why? For those that do evil shall be cut off. So there's your cause. There is why I don't want to have wrath and to do evil. Okay? Verse 13. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. Now we're going to have to back up and get verse 12. The wicked plotteth against the just. Okay? And gnasheth upon him with his teeth. But the Lord laughs at him, for he sees his day coming. That's the cause. That's why he's laughing. He sees the schemes that they're doing. This is also another genre in this thing, but he sees the schemes that they're doing. He laughs because he also sees their day of judgment coming. Okay? Verse 20. We'll go through this. We'll stop. Verse 20. But, there's your causal, your key. The wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of the lambs. They shall consume into smoke. They shall consume away. So look at verse 19. Why? They shall not be ashamed in the evil time. In the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. Okay? Who is they? Verse 18. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in evil time. Okay? And in the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. But, the causal, there's your key. The wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be the fat of lambs. What happens with fat of lambs? What? Somebody tell me what they did with the fat of lambs. They did. For what? Who said it belonged to them? The Lord said it belongs to Him. The fat of the animal belongs to Him. You put that on and it's a totally burnt offering to the Lord. The fat was. Now, me and my mother-in-law, we differ on this. If you come to my house and I buy you a steak, we're going to eat ribeyes. Because ribeyes got enough fat in them, they got some good taste. And Marty ain't wasting none of it. He eating the fat and all. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the best part. Okay? All right. Let's get these. Oh man, we're out of time. Let's get these last few real quick. 37:22. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they shall be cursed of him shall be cut off. So verse 21. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth. So here's the causal. Why? The Bible tells us to give to the poor, does it not? Well, when we have the means to do, we're to give to them that's in need. Okay? Now, me and Darrell was talking about it earlier. Not everybody comes up to you and asks money you need to give to them. You know, you need to use some discernment in that. You know, somebody want to buy a pack of cigarettes for $6. No. Get a job. I'm not paying for your habits. Okay? All right. So you see the causal there. Verse 24. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. This one here's got a double in it, actually. So look at verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, we all stumble around, he shall not be utterly cast down. And here's why. Here's the cause. For the Lord shall uphold him with his hand. Because he's upright. He's somebody that the Lord's pleased with. He holds him up. I love Jude. And it says that we don't fall. I believe that's what it says over there. Jude, one of the last verses, that we don't fall. Okay? Anyway, you see how that goes. So, I mean, you can go back and you can look at these last two or three, and you can see how your key is. Verse 28, the first 4 is your key. In verse 37, it's 4, which is about halfway through it, is your key. And then verse 40, verse 40, 88. Yes, it is because. You're right. It's way down there. I was missing because. So that's your key there. All right. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Hopefully we'll come back. We'll pick this up and we'll finish this up next Wednesday night. We're not next Wednesday night. It's not Thanksgiving night, is it? Okay, we won't have Wednesday night next week then. Because all you ladies need to be getting all that fine dinner on the table, and I know how that is. Y'all spend a whole week or two. My mother-in-law's been cooking for a week already, man. Already. We're going to have more cakes and pies, and it's going to be unreal. Ain't going to be but a half a dozen of us. It's going to be a cake and a pie for everybody. Everybody going to have their personal cake and pie. It's going to be good. Anyway, let's pray.